This is FBG.Live. From touchdowns and concerts to weddings and Christmas parades. Live video production right here in Fredericksburg, Texas. Live, local, here for you. FBG.Live, capturing your moment for generations to enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with an invocation before we call the meeting to order. Kate Walker is going to do the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty Creator, source of all wisdom and goodness,
we offer our sincere gratitude for the blessings of this year, especially during this season of sharing and celebration. Guide these, your servants, to move with integrity and compassion, fostering unity, peace, and hope for all in our community. May their work reflect justice and kindness, bringing a brighter future to all residents. Bless their deliberations and help them act with humility for the common good. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God,
You hand that to them. Welcome, everyone. It's 9:03 a.m. on December the 23rd, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the Gillespie County Commissioners Court. It's 9:04 a.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. All members of the Commissioners Court are present this morning. It is 2 days before Christmas. It feels more like fall. I mean, there's still leaves falling, so hopefully everybody can get in the Christmas spirit despite the strange weather.
We need to do something with that. It's kind of echoing.
Yeah, I think it's just turned up a little bit too loud. Is Vicki in here?
No, she's not here this week.
She's not going to be here at all today. What about Chad? Oh, that's you. Okay. We've got a few public comments on the items that are further down the agenda. You're okay if we push those up so that we can address those? Let's see. Marvin here? Yes, sir. Did you want to speak on the old county jail or?
1885.
Okay.
Warner Cross Street.
Okay, I think that's item number 16. It's about the repairs to the jail. Okay, all right, let's move to item number 16. Consider approval to repair, is Jeff here? Sorry. Okay, all right, consider approval to repair, reglaze, prep, and paint the windows of the historic jail. This is the jail across the street on 117 West San Antonio Street. Are you going to go ahead and make your public comments?
Sure.
Okay, all right, if you can come up to the podium here.
Do it without stumping all these poor people that are doing this already all the time 6 times this morning. They're gonna whack me when I'm done. Okay. My name's Marvin Schrader. I've been here about 35, 40 years. I spent 27 years at the Nimitz Museum working maintenance. I was 5 years working with Fort Martin Scott doing maintenance. But what's interesting in my history is I'm a 5th generation carpenter. So I love old buildings and structures. And when Ty Cox built those old buildings at the fort, I was helping him build those, and I just refurbished all the buildings out at the fort, the guardhouse, all the windows. So I'm familiar with that kind of construction. And what I have is a foundation now, and we're called the Frontier History Company. And what we do is every first Saturday of the month, we work with the Pioneer Museum, and we're at the Pioneer Museum, but we're also at the jail. And I've got 4 or 5 guys that interpret the jail from 1885 to about 1930. And most of y'all know the history of that jail, right? Y'all know that jail has a history all the way back to Fort Martin Scott. After the fort was closed, a guy named Johann Brogden bought the place and had a beer joint. Smart, because they were right there on a highway. Made tons of money. Unfortunately, one morning, 3 or 4 guys robbed him, and he was killed. Well, the Texas Rangers caught those guys down in South around Castroville. 3 of them survived. They captured them on the way back to San Antonio. One decided to make an escape, and as the Rangers quoted, he died of lead poisoning. So 2 of them on the way back to San Antonio, one of them said, I was holding the horse, I didn't shoot the old man. The other guy said, shut up. And they said, well, take him to Fredericksburg, he'll hold trial there. Well, they brought him here. So in doing my research, I uncovered a copy of the newspaper. That guy, they put in our jail at the time. Number 6 is this one. This is number 7. Or number 8, I forget which, but it was a wooden building. Said you could throw a cat between the walls. So everybody in town here said, we want a new jail. Well, the city and the county said, we're not spending that money on it. This is 1885, folks. Money's tight. So they put him in the jail. That night, it burned down with him in it. And they said in the paper, he fell asleep while reading the Bible by candlelight. Now, uncovering a little quick history, realized he couldn't read. So, long story short, they got the money and built that 1885 jail. Now, everybody knows that every county in Texas has a jail, right? There's 254 of them, right? Because there's 254 counties. That jail is unique because There was nothing mean ever happened there, but they have a record. 26 people escaped from that jail. Is that a good record? It was fun. The funnest one is the two guys that were brothers. One guy watched his brother get drunk and get locked up. While the jailer went to get a sandwich, he went and got his brother out and they walked out. So it's kind of got a neat history. It's part of our heritage and history here. But what we're seeing is it's needing help, okay? And again, my working over there with the volunteers and looking at it, we have several windows that are broke, several of the sashes that are broke. They don't shut. We suspect there's somebody been getting into it at night because the windows on the ground floor can't seal. And we'd like to help refurbish that. That's what my foundation does. And we're all retired, and we're just wanting to volunteer our time in service. If the commissioners want to put the material in play, we've got the team that can do it, okay? And I've just met this young man over here, and we're sharing the same focus about getting that jail online. It's got some plaster work, it needs some painting, so that's kind of what we're after, is just to help that mission. And that's basically it. Okay, questions?
Well, I know, Marvin, I know you reached out to me here last
Right.
night. Incidentally, I didn't know this was on the agenda when you reached out to me, but I think we ought to continue having these conversations.
Sure.
I mean, that old jail was part of my,
Perfect.
to me, yeah.
What I want to find, and again, I don't know if you've done this, has anybody ever done any archaeology on that property at all? You know what's missing? Is the outhouse. You know what else is missing is the well. Now, what's the old joke about it? Is it upstream or downstream? Well, we don't care about that nowadays, but all that part of that history tells us a lot of that background. In my research, doing a lot of historic venues, a lot of different forts and stuff all over Texas, the most important structure on any property is the outhouse, because more stuff winds up in those outhouses than anything in real life, stuff off the uniformed equipment. So archaeology needs to be done on that, to find it, figure out where it is, at least identify it. And the grounds are pretty rough. The two side walls, there's cracks in the wall that are starting to show a sign of coming apart. And there's just a lot of repair work, so it's an ongoing process. But getting the windows secured, that's also not helping the interior. And if any of y'all been over there in the last year or two, you see all the paint starting to come off and stuff, that's a simple fix. And of course, we've got plaster starting to come off the walls and crack. That's a simple fix. But mostly it's the windows, okay? So yeah, whatever y'all want to talk about. We're fired up and ready to go. Now I keep blocking the guys up on the Saturday who told me they can't get out until they paint, so that it's not working real well. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Jeff, you want to discuss this item?
Sure. I'd like to thank Mr. Schrader for coming in, and we discussed this morning. I was not aware that he was going to be here, and he wasn't aware that I was going to be here, because we're talking about the same thing. I actually procured 2 bids to fix the windows, plaster, the whole nine, everything concerning the windows. I would like to table this to further talk to Mr. Schrader and see where we need to go. One of the things I would like to talk about is being able to use the hot funds to do the repairs necessary on the old jail. And I don't know how to go about that.
Your bids were like mid 20,000.
One was 20,000. Put my glasses on. 21,559 and 20,250. So really close. I mean, they're
So you
both
want
right there.
to talk to Marvin about making sure that what he is intending or think needs to be done is covered in a bid and bring back a new bid. Is that
Correct. And this is just to address
Use their services.
possibly either way. Like I said, I just met Mr. Schrader. And
One side of the country, they say Trader, they say Kroger, doesn't make a difference.
so I'd like to table this and talk about that at the next meeting possibly.
Okay. All right.
But one thing, and maybe you can guide me on this, is the hot fund issue.
No, I think it's very appropriate for use.
Okay. All right, appreciate it.
All right, so there will be no action on item number 16 today. We'll wait for that to come back for further discussion. All right, we're going to move to item number 17. Item number 17 is discuss and consider approval of a revised professional services agreement for the accounting services to be performed in the county treasurer's office. We have two individuals that have signed up for public comments. The Schneiders, I don't care who goes first, y'all can pick. Mr. Schneider, Tom Schneider.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this morning. First of all, I'd like to thank Commissioner Weinheimer at our recent hearings about the taxes and your agreement to keep everything constant for this year. I think we appreciate that. I have been hearing various things, and I was wondering, I wanted to get your input. My understanding was the last time books have been reconciled was November of 2023. And number one, is that accurate? And number two, if it was accurate, how have those been brought up to date since we started having these discussions around the real estate tax rates?
Okay.
So secondly, is there a year-end statement for year-end 23, year-end 24, and a budget for 2025 for finishing up this year? And if so, when will that become public? And then thirdly, a third thing I'd like to understand is what is the projected surplus at the end of 25? So if anybody could speak to that, greatly appreciate it.
When you say end of 25, are you talking about?
Year-end 25, what is our projected year-end statement?
Are you talking about for the budget that we're in now or for the one that we just finished at the end of September?
Year-end, fiscal year-end 2025.
Okay. Marcy or Chad, what's the most recent reconciliation that we have approved?
The full month end is January 24, and then there should be some entries today. So then February 24 will be done. Should be today or 1 or 2 days after that.
So I guess that answers your first question is February 24 would be through today. We will approve through February 2024 the reconciliations from the county treasurer's office. Your question about the year-end statement on the budget, are you asking about like where we ended up versus what was projected or what was budgeted as far as actual expenditures for the fiscal year we just ended?
Yes, sir. Where we ended up fiscal 23, fiscal 24, and where we are either budgeted to end up, or if we have the final, when we have the final numbers, when we will have the final fiscal 25 numbers.
I mean, some of those are in our, whenever we do a budget, we include the prior year's budget and the actuals. And so I think some of the old, like the 23, 24s should be available on our website. I don't have the numbers, obviously on my head, but whenever we do a budget, we do a few years back and we show the actuals, and we show the budgeted and then we show the actuals that we ended up spending in that year. And so I don't know that we're done with the fiscal year we just ended yet. Has that been completely booked? I doubt it. Okay. So we won't have that information. We don't have it yet, but prior years we can show what was actually spent versus what was budgeted And it should be reflected in the budgets that are posted on the county's website on the financial page. If you want specifics, you can just send me an email. I'll try to get you documents. I can send them to you so you don't have to go hunting around for them.
So how do the two work with each other? We're now up to reconciliation up to February of 24. How does that affect our process of getting accurate fiscal year statements and what's been published on the county webpage?
But also we have software that we use to track all of our expenditures, and so that's how we can determine sort of, that's the information we can use to show the actual amount we've spent out of, each purchase goes through that software. And so that's the number, that's the information, the data that's used to compile the actuals in each line item on the budget. The reconciliations are I guess more about ensuring that money that has come in that is booked in and that we actually receive, to line those up and make sure that they fall into the proper accounts within the county's treasury. So Marcy, I don't know if you got any input, if you want to expand on how it affects the question that he's asking.
So the biggest issue that I've seen is there any kind of direct deposit hadn't been recorded by the treasurer's office. And so essentially what's happening is there's money in English, there's money in the bank, but it's not recorded on the books. So the reports that you're asking about would be inaccurate because they're gonna be understated because they're not gonna have that revenue. Now the expenses should be accurate because those have been maintained properly.
So that will be, is anticipated that those will be
Brought up to date, roughly by when?
I think we're getting ready to discuss that with Chad Lowell, who's the contractor that's been helping the treasurer's office. I think we'll get an indication of that here in just a minute.
Okay.
We'll see what they propose.
And then the final question was projected surplus at the end of fiscal 25. Because I've seen numbers that were, there were quite a disparity between some of the numbers I saw in the reports.
We have a projected cash flow. So are you asking about how much money the county will have projected to be surplus at the end of the fiscal year we're in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a projected cash flow in the proposed budget, but again, if you want me, I'll send you that information when we get done with the meeting.
It's in the adopted budget.
If it's posted, I can.
It is.
Yeah, it actually shows end of fiscal year 25 and projected for end of fiscal year 26.
Oh, great. So, okay, we'll take a look. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Shaw, I'm going to make a note to email you. Hopefully I don't forget, but if I do, just shoot me an email and I'll send you that stuff. Okay. Thank you. All right, Mrs. Schneider.
I would actually like to wait until after Chad makes his presentation,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
All right, and you also signed up for item 26, which is the batteries. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the discussion portion of this item for right now, which is the just considering amendment or approval of an amended or revised professional services agreement for the county treasurer's office. We have had a professional services agreement in place with Mr. Lowell to help, provide his expertise in reconciling the accounts that have not been reconciled timely, trying to get caught up. That agreement initially was an hourly agreement, and so we've been, as that time was used up, we'd come back and discuss it and then consider adding more time to that. The proposal now is more of a flat rate for quarterly work moving forward. I did meet with, about 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago, I met with Chad and Vicky. Sorry, I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And I met with Marcy separately. I know they've been working on trying to come up with a plan that will work best for both offices. And then I have committed Commissioners Court to meeting as frequently as we need to, with special meetings to expedite our approval of those as they move through the process, so that we're not having to wait for every 2 weeks to potentially approve a reconciliation. I did get some information from the auditor's office, from Al specifically, thank you, Al, on, he essentially monitors the end of day and compares that to the bank statements just to, I guess that's probably one of the best tools the auditor's office has to sort of track this activity without the reconciliations. Let's see if I've got a copy. You. So this shows the essentially the end of day items that are not on the bank statements, and then the bank statement deposits that they can review separately and then try to correlate or reconcile those. There is some disparity. However, the amount in the bank exceeds the amount that's not on the bank deposits. There's one account that I think probably likely accounts for a majority of that. And then Liz in the treasurer's office has changed the process. Did you work with her on that?
Yes.
Did you work with that plan? Okay. Is Liz here?
No, she's on.
Okay, all right, sorry. So before all of these were going into one account, now Liz has separated them into separate accounts for each.
Well, they're separating the EODs. They used to do one EOD. There's 8 accounts I looked at. And they would do one EOD and they would mix all 8 accounts in there. Now they're doing, starting in July, I've asked them, and they're doing a separate EOD for each bank account. And that's cleared up a lot of the issues.
Right, so it looks like you've got the average error reduction is 93%, so
The EODs have improved by 93%, meaning EODs that I find on the bank account. The bank account that I find on the EODs is improved by 86%, so roughly it's about 90% better. There's still a disparity in the last 5 months of about 21, well, net of Pershing, about $21,000, $65,000, but net of the Pershing, which which they haven't been booked, about 21,000. So it's gotten quite a bit better. I started this for fiscal 24, so back to October of 23, all the way through June of 25 was the old method where they combined everything on one EOD. Now, there's been no adjustments or any reconciliation items because I've not seen them. And at that point in time, the bank had almost $2 million in deposits that I couldn't identify on an EOD, and the EODs had about $1.1 million of what they call deposits that were on the bank statement. Now, $974,000 of that was Pershing brokerage, which is an investment account, which I know that they've never booked. But right now, the way it stands, at least in the prior to June 25, the EODs outweighed the bank by over $100,000, almost 110. So we booked things, and for some reason they're not on the bank if you net them together. Since then, since we've changed the method, like I said, it's gotten better by about 90%.
Okay.
Now, some of that may have been corrected with the recs, which this is, I'm doing this each month currently.
When you say rec, you mean the reconciliation?
The bank reconciliation, yes. So some of those may have been caught, I don't know.
You mean that the items that didn't align on the EOD and the bank account may have been reconciled?
They may have been, but.
All right, anything else, Al or Marcy, you want to add? All right, do you have any questions for Al? Al, what's your title? Assistant Auditor?
Assistant Auditor.
Okay. Just for the public's. Just, we want to let everybody know who you are. He works in the auditor's office, assistant auditor.
I'll have to look it up on my.
That's right. Okay. All right, Chad, did you want to discuss anything, or I guess can you give us a little bit of feedback on where y'all are and what you're seeing as far as timeline moving forward?
Yeah. No, Sarah, if y'all have any questions, we can look at that, so.
Okay.
No, for now, we've been, pulled all the data, working on doing the reconciliations. A lot of the, up until this point here, and going forward, talking with the auditors group will be about just timing and what we can do to expedite it, which I think we've got that worked out now with them on that. And that's kind of switching over to a quarterly base, or just a quarterly fee on that now that we know what's involved with it on the reconciliation side, and booking the entry side, and then research side as well.
So how long do you anticipate it would take for us to get caught up on the reconciliations?
To get current, I think I'd probably say about 9 months.
For you to continue doing the reconciliation work, or has Vicky expressed trying to, I guess, learn that process and take it over internally? Have y'all talked about that?
Yes, yeah, we've talked about it. So we spent some time working with Vicky on that to kind of transition the process over on that. So I think right now the plan proposed would be that I would stay on, do all the work, just to expedite a little bit, and then she can review it. And if she's got questions or wants to look at something, I mean, I'm there to answer it, but she also, looking at the process more, can review it as well. Yeah.
So is the current receipts, are they being reconciled as they come in, or are they stacking up behind?
No, things are being recorded currently. Yeah, so it's now a matter of just
we're
catching
closing
up.
this gap. We're not just pushing it down the road.
Right.
Okay.
And are you just training Vicky only, or is the whole staff getting?
Right now, it's just Vicky, but towards the end, it would be, yes, train the whole staff on it. That way, it's transition purposes and everything else it can keep forward. That way, there's kind of a knowledge base in there. And I've been documented and created some process documents on what I've been doing as well that we can, that's been shared with the treasurer.
So if you're not here, they can go back to some, I'm going to call it notes.
Yeah, kind of a manual process, just a manual on that I've got with some screenshots from the system, and just kind of a step-by-step process of what it is. That way, yeah, if people can pick it up as they go. So it's been documented, yes.
Other questions for Mr. Lowell?
So the proposed agreement is covering everything that you're doing today?
Yes.
Does the Treasurer's Office have budget for this? Do y'all know? I don't remember budgeting it, at least not in the amount we may need.
I think going to this agreement is more cost effective than what we've been doing, so.
Professional services at $75,500 budgeted.
Add or has?
Add at the beginning.
Go ahead.
So when we had budget hearings over the summer, Treasurer's Office had asked for an additional person, and we discussed that, my preference was instead of funding additional person, that we would work with the contractor, give us a little more, sort of, I guess, I won't say oversight, but the ability to regulate, the expenditures, ensuring that the work would be done. And so, which I think we've done. I mean, it looks like we're making, progress. I know there's a lot of back-end work to clean things up before you could start doing the reconciliation, is my understanding. And so, with the amount budgeted, I mean, I assume we talked about this. I don't recall specifically the discussions in budget about funding professional services for the treasurer's office, but based on the amount we have budgeted in there, I assume that we had discussed something pretty substantial. So, any other questions for Chad, or any other questions about the proposed agreement?
I don't
know. No, sir.
All right.
Have you reviewed the agreement from a legal perspective?
I have.
Okay.
You gonna make your comments now? Okay. All right. Thank you, Chad.
Needless to say, it's a sad situation to hear what's happening. It brings me no joy to ask any of these questions, but I think once again, the public is owed some explanations. And I'd like to kind of recap what has happened as I understand it, that during the budget process in September, there was a motion made to fund the treasurer's office for the outside services of Chad to do the work. And at that time, in September, the reconciliations had not taken place since our current treasurer had been in office for 2 years. And now we are, I shudder to ask the question, what is the amount of the proposal to fix this?
It's $25,000 per quarter.
Okay.
So it would be, I guess, $100,000 if it was for a full year.
So
we heard. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt, but if the estimate of 9 months is accurate, then we're, I guess, about $75,000 would be the cost from now forward. I know we've spent, I don't know how much, probably at least 112. Okay, we've spent 112 already on this issue, and
It's just to clarify, it's 25,000 per quarter, so January, February, March, it's not per quarter for the work. It's for January, February, March of a given quarter, would be 25,000.
You're saying 25,000 per quarter of reconciliations?
For 3 months of reconciliations plus state reporting.
Right. Okay.
I'm deeply concerned about this because the city of Elgin is going through an investigation by the Texas Rangers for the very same thing, that the entries haven't been accounted for properly. We're also paying for the treasurer's salary. This is nauseating to hear this, okay? But we have to get this fixed. I would like to propose that the treasurer resign and we move forward with replacing her with someone who is capable of doing the job. Basically, what I understood you to say, Chad, was that she is trying to learn the job. She said that in September, that she thought she could learn the job, and it's been 2 years. Why are we going to continue to pay her salary, train her for something, and she's not running for re-election? Might you consider replacing her? I realize she's an elected official, but the county is in a horrible predicament with this. And you guys are working hard on getting this done, and I appreciate that. But I think there's more that can be done, and I'm just asking that you take that into consideration and see. So, okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Concerning the, I guess the municipality that you mentioned, one distinction between cities and counties is that counties, we have an internal auditor that's appointed by a third party, essentially the district judge. And so Cities typically don't have internal auditors, and so we do have at least an auditor in-house that is doing the best they can with the data, I would say, to monitor the situation. So, cities, because cities don't have that, cities typically have an annual audit, an external audit only. But there's more gap in time, I guess, in there for them to get squarely, so to speak, with their financials. I'm just laying that distinction out there. As far as the treasurer, I mean, obviously you said she's an elected official. We don't have power to terminate her or anything like that. She'd either have to be resigned or removed from office by petition. I think that the Commissioner's Court is frustrated with the process, that it has not, accelerated, and that we've had to resort to essentially paying a third party to come in to supplement the work that's being done. But we don't have any. I mean, we've got to get these reconciliations done, and so I think as the Commissioner's Court, we're in a tough spot of knowing that we're sort of double paying, or paying somebody and then paying a third party to also do the work at the same time. And we've discussed this quite a bit about other options. We'd even retained an outside firm at one point prior to bringing in Mr. Lowell to work on this, and that didn't provide. It didn't work from a timeliness standpoint. It was too slow. So having somebody in the building working in there daily has, I think, been a big benefit. But I understand your concerns with the expenditure, and I don't know if the commissioners have any other comments or discussion.
Yeah, I would like to make a comment. So while it's frustrating that we're in this situation, for people that don't understand exactly what we're talking about, is that we track our expenses to the T all the time. We know exactly how much we spent compared to our budget, et cetera, et cetera. We collect funds through justice of the peace, through county clerks, through all kinds of different efforts, and those funds come into our bank account. And what we're talking about is they can fail to be reconciled back to individual accounts. So we know the money's there. It's not like the county has a cash flow problem. We know the money's there. It's just a matter, is it being put into the right accounts, and have we been able to reconcile those accounts on the revenue side? So it's, I just want to make sure that somebody doesn't get the opinion that we have a major financial crisis in the county, which we don't. We have considerable reserves. The accuracy of those reserves is not there right now because of the fact that we haven't got the reconciliation in place. So I just wanted to make that point, is that we do have a challenge on this. We've worked with the treasurer to try to get it fixed, and that's part of why Mr. Lowell is here going forward to try to get this resolved. So.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments from the Commissioner's Court? Chad, Auditor's Office, anything? No, sir. Okay. Is it Lowell or Lowell?
Lowell.
Lowell. So the proposal is that the flat fee is for 1/4 of reconciliations, not for 1/4 of work.
1/4 is the accounting months in the system.
Right, okay. Yes, sir.
One clarification, 1/4 of reconciliation, are we to understand that reconciliations from back in whenever we hired the outside consultant, from that point forward, it's being kept current, it's catching up? I think Commissioner Weinheimer asked that question. I just want to make sure it's understood that we're talking about the 1.5 years left to reconcile, just to get to the point where the outside auditor came on board. Is that accurate?
Reconciliations are not being done currently. I thought the question more referred to is everything being recorded on a current basis, and that's yes. But the reconciliations, no, you kind of build on those as you go, so you can't go to say, December of 25 without having November of 25 already completed. So they build on each other, so you can't go to a future month of reconciliations. So the reconciliations aren't done, but all the revenue coming in, that's all being recorded currently.
So each reconciliation has to reflect the month prior, and so we can't just start doing current reconciliations until we build up to, so we have a starting point for that moving forward. But the process of, I guess I'll say the daily process has been improved so that I think when we get caught up to current, that we won't have the sort of mess in place to do the reconciliations moving forward. One of the which we discussed a little bit, was all this money was being dumped from all these different sources, was being dumped into one account, and then they were trying to sort of play this, this matchmaker game of finding this transaction and this transaction on the end of day transaction and the bank statement, trying to figure out this goes to this and this goes to this, and by separating those now, when they're coming in, it won't be as big of a sort of puzzle, I guess, to put together moving forward. So, but we can't. And I'm not an accountant, but my understanding is that we can't start doing the reconciliations currently until we've caught up, because they rely on the data prior to that to, you have to look back. It has to be, you have to have a basis, I guess, to do the reconciliation, and there's no basis there because there's this gap of missing reconciliations in between.
But the accounting for monthly revenues from some point forward has been done accurately. So it's catching up right now from February of 24 until sometime in 25. Is that accurate? And then that you could move forward, that it's all being done. Everything will catch up when we get to whatever that date is, September of 25. Not, if it's 9 more months, that's $75,000 more dollars. If we had to go back and reconcile 3 more months, and then what happens? I mean, at some point, when will it catch up?
Well, I mean,
Is there a budget at $25,000 per accounting quarter? When is that complete?
I don't know that I can give you an exact time, because it's going to be somewhat, flexible based on how fast they can get through it, how fast we can approve it. The auditor's office has a role that they have to review, so I can't give you like a fixed date. I mean, that's our end goal, obviously, is to get, to catch up and then pick it up and move forward, in a more normal manner, I guess I would say. But we, as the Commissioners Court, and the auditor has given us input several times that this is critical. We want to get this resolved ASAP, and so that's our intent as the Commissioners Court is to push this to completion as soon as we can. I have also met with our outside auditors. They're sort of on standby so that we can do an outside audit, but we have to have the reconciliations done before we can pursue that process, and so. So they're aware of this issue as well. I think they've even talked to Chad. Have you talked to them, Chad?
I have, yeah.
Okay. And so, we're anxious to get it caught up and get back to normal, business as usual in the treasurer's office.
One last question. Are we making all of our payments as far as taxes and things that are owed to the state and for employment? That was one of the things that I'd heard during the budget process, that we were 2 years behind. Is that correct?
Chad, are you working on those at all in the state reports? And
I haven't started looking at it yet. That'll be part of this
Okay.
proposal, to start working on the state reporting as
Okay.
well.
So we don't know?
I don't know right now.
Hold on.
September of 23.
Was the last time
Was the last time
that we paid
the state
for,
fees collected, for their portion of fees collected.
so we haven't
fees.
paid the state for fees collected since September of 23?
Correct.
Did we do some preemptive sort of estimated payments at some point?
So I had done October, November, December 23. I think in February, it was whenever Crystal brought me the third late notice. And so I had put together, which it wouldn't be accurate because the funds are sitting in fee offices and they need to be transferred to the general fund, but it's as close as you're gonna get. And I, kind of like the IRS, it's best to send them something, so, we can always amend it, but it would be, I thought more appropriate to send what we can. And I had prepared, the information, given it to the treasurer, and nothing.
Yeah, so
So it was given to the treasurer and she didn't act upon it. Okay.
those late notices, those go to the, or I guess the invoices or the statements, those go to the treasurer's office?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess the short answer, what you heard, I mean, Marcy and I discussed, I think you had asked me, and I said I thought it was a good idea to make sort of an estimated payment, or best estimate we could make on remitting money to the state. We've had a couple, I want to say once or twice, we were a day late on some of our payroll taxes. I can remember over the past year or so, but the statements go to the treasurer's office, and then I think that maybe accidentally or somehow that information was discovered by the auditor's office, and that's when the payments were made. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, any other discussion, comments, questions from the Commissioners Court? We still have the proposed agreement in place if you want to discuss taking action to approve that.
I mean, I see no better option at the present, but I move we approve the contract with Lowell.
As presented.
As presented. Chad Lowell.
I second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement as presented. Any discussion?
Do we have to define funding? Or are we just gonna?
I think there's money probably in our budget right now to pay.
Okay, to start it.
Yeah. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Is Melissa in here? Okay. Are y'all ready to do the subdivision item? Is someone here from the, okay, all right. I'm just trying to hit the items that we've got people visiting or guests today. Item number 9, we're going to move to item number 9, consider approval of a variance from the county subdivision and MHRC regulations concerning the Tobiano Hill subdivision in precinct 4, requested by Hewitt Engineering.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Emmett Gold with Hewitt Engineering, office out of Kerrville, live here in town. I'm presenting a variance request for the Tobiano Hill subdivision. Tobiano Hills consists of approximately 25 lots on 100 acres, located a few miles north of town on Ranch Road 965. The proposed variance request is in regard to the timing of the public water system approval by the TCEQ and receipt of Certificate of Convenience and Necessity, or CCN, from the Public Utility Commission. So Gillespie County subdivision regulations require that documentation of approval from the TCEQ for the public water system, as well as the CCN issuance from the Public Utility Commission, be provided prior to final plat approval. The primary issue we've seen with this is timing. It could take up to a year or more to obtain a CCN, and basically the CCN from the Public Utility Commission allows the retail sale of water to users, to customers. The timing significantly impacts the value of a community water system to a developer versus individual wells on each lot. We feel that a community water system is a more county-friendly approach to development due to fewer wells required, 1 or 2 wells versus a couple dozen wells, and with residents' water usage being metered and incurring costs to the residents, they're likely to use less water. So we respectfully request a variance to allow these state-level approvals, the final TCEQ approval for the public water system, and the receipt of the CCN from the Public Utility Commission to be provided prior to recordation of the final plat rather than prior to final plat approval. with the recordation of final plat occurring after civil construction is completed. Under this proposal, the county would still review and approve the plat prior to construction in accordance with the subdivision regulations, with the conditions that, one, no plat recordation or sale of lots would occur until final TCQ approval and CCN documentation is submitted to the county, and the county would retain final authority to withhold recordation until receipt of these items.
Melissa, do you have your analysis and recommendation on the variance request?
So overall, I don't have a major objection to adjusting the timing to before recordation of the plat. The code that is referenced in their variance application is 22A of the Exhibit H. So that paragraph does include basically all utility approvals. So that would include, for instance, the Hill Country Underground Water Conservation District. So it seems like the request is only for the timing of the TCEQ approval. But if this were a variance that was approved by Commissioner's Court, I would just want to ensure that it's clear in that approval that we need to have the letter of recommendation of the plat approval from the water district prior to approval of the final plat at a minimum. But really generally that process that Emmett described is pretty standard across cities and counties. The final plat is approved by the Commissioner's Court or the city. They construct the public infrastructure, and then it's not until after that infrastructure is constructed and accepted that the developer can record lots. So since our ordinance is a little bit different on that, I don't have a objection to essentially following this more standard process. I think that, and there are, I don't know if you went into the plat note, there is a note on the plat that no structures or improvements on the property can be occupied until it's connected to that public water supply system. So that note should remain on the plat. And I think furthermore, that needs to be expanded, that plat note needs to be expanded to include that no structure or improvement should be occupied until they receive the approved operating permit by the Hill Country Underground Water Conservation District, and the CCN has been issued by the PUC. So I think there are a lot of clarifications and things we need to identify as part of that variance to ensure that the public water system is, completely permitted, installed correctly, before there's any recordation of the plat. That helps because the developer can't sell any of the lots in the subdivision until that plat's recorded.
So the variance is, I'm assuming that there will be a plat presented for us to consider. That's coming. So what you're looking for is a variance right now so you can work on that to get the plat before the court, and then we would do a conditional approval on the plat if it meets all of the requirements pending the underground water conservation water study and the TCEQ permit.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we're working on the final plat, like you mentioned. We want to get comfortability with you guys, and you guys comfortable with it for, regarding the timing of the water system and the CCN, so we can move forward with the final plat application and get that in front of y'all.
So you bring a final plat for approval, and then we're talking about holding off on recording that plat until, whatever's been completed. And Melissa, you mentioned about a lot of conditions on the variance. Are you wanting those to be stated as if this is approved today in the variance approval, or is this something that would be brought as a condition of the final plat approval?
So I guess it'd be a condition of the variance. That way we, have that written record of kind of the intent for the issuance of that variance. I wouldn't want the variance to be granted, just a blanket variance to 22A, because that includes, while not expressly requested by the developer, that paragraph does include approvals from other entities like the water district. And I think that approval is needed before the approval of the final plat. So I guess it's really more of a clarification of the variance that we are considering for approval instead of just a blanket approval.
So it would be specific to the TCEQ permit and not the other utilities that would be, I guess, implicated by that section.
Right.
Yes, sir. We're only asking for variance on the timing of the TCQ permit and the CCN acquisition from the Public Utility Commission. So timing only on those in regards to the final plat.
So you believe that y'all will get, well, you wouldn't submit the final plat until you got the water study done?
Correct, and it's under review at the groundwater district right now.
Yeah, so there's no reason for that to be in the
right.
variance.
All right. Do you have any other questions? Any other discussion? Yes.
I would just ask what's the status of the issue with the underground water district? I mean, is it stalled? Is it in some kind of deliberation, or is it being delayed? How long is that?
In regards to the specific project? Yeah, it's under.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
It's not.
Yes, sir. No, it's in progress. Reviewing it. We can't speak for
the months or years.
A couple weeks would be my understanding.
And the water district told me they probably have it back in January, their comments back to the developer in January on the water study.
When you targeting for a final plat approval? Do you have an idea yet?
We'd probably submit it to the county engineer's office late January. So, hopefully in front of you guys late February.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Discussion?
I'm good with this, but have you got your mind around the motion that represents what we're trying to do? I would probably screw it up.
Well, I think that the agenda language is pretty specific to the request.
Judge, the only comment I have there is it doesn't speak to the CCN aspect of it.
And it doesn't speak to the recording of it either. Is that necessary or to have in there?
Yeah, I would add that in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the agenda language as proposed is specific, although you need to also address submit the approved TCEQ permit and the CCN after approval of the final plat, but before recordation of the final plat. Does that sum up the request? And Melissa, okay with that?
Can you repeat that as you're reading through it? Sorry.
The variance would allow the TCEQ permit and the CCN to be submitted after the final plat approval, but before recordation of the plat.
Second. Was that motion?
That's the proposed. And I just want to make sure we've got we've got the issue squarely addressed in the motion.
Yeah, and I guess as long as a plat note, I've included that there needs to be a plat note on the approved plat to prohibit any kind of occupancy of any structures prior to that recordation until the public water supply system is approved.
If we approve it but it's not recorded, I don't know, does the plat note have any effect at that point? I mean, could that just be part of our approval of the final plat? I think would be a condition of the approval.
Right, we commonly have the variance note referencing any variances on the plat, so yeah, we can tie it in with that.
All right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. You want me to make the motion?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, I'm going to make a motion that the county grant the variance as follows allow the developer to submit the approved TCEQ permit and the CCN for the proposed public water system after the approval of the final plat, but prior to recordation of that final plat, and include a plat note to prohibit occupancy of any structures on the in the development prior to the recordation of the plat.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Do any other department heads or electeds have guests here as part of their item that we need to address? Okay, doesn't look like it. All right, let's move to item number 26, which is the executive session item to discuss with the county attorney and outside legal counsel discussion regarding contemplated or pending litigation related to both the Rogers Draw battery energy storage project in Harper and the proposed Marshall Springs Solar Complex and battery energy storage facility on Highway 16 north of Fredericksburg. We have one individual has signed up to make a public comment on this item. I know the county attorney has a time commitment, so we're trying to. Okay, I wasn't alluding to that. I'm saying we may have to take this out of order just because of that also. So, Ms. Schneider, go ahead with your public comment, please.
So I'm happy to report that Judge Patillo ruled in favor of the citizens and denied Peregrine's motion to dismiss our lawsuit. So that's a huge win, not only for Harper, but also for Marshall Springs. The other part of that is he awarded attorney's fees and costs, which are probably in excess of $25,000 to $30,000. So that's a happy thing for us. So Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Okay, do y'all want to go to executive session now? I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know the county attorney has a commitment a little bit later this morning, so I don't want to be crunched for time on that discussion. So, okay, thank you, Ms. Schneider, for your comment. Now we're going to adjourn, or I guess not adjourn, we're going to recess the open meeting and reconvene in executive session pursuant to 551.071 for item number 26 on the agenda. It is 10:06 a.m. We're going to meet in the law library for our executive session. Y'all are welcome to stay in here. We will come back, take any necessary action related to that item, and then then continue with the rest of the meeting. Okay? If anybody leaves in the meantime, Merry Christmas. See y'all next year.
Good. Good.